Thanks for joining us at 7. I'm Tracey McCain.
And I'm Nicole Nalepa in for Caitlin Nuclo, and you are watching Eyewitness News right here on the Wax. We're getting you ready this morning. We have a lot of headlines to get to, but first, we're going to bring in meteorologist Jill Gilardi for your check of your first alert forecast. Wow, and
the soprano tone needs to start.
Soprano?
Every time I see
angelic choirs are singing, yes. And that bird was paid $20 to fly through.
Oh, look at you. If I only knew your name. All right, well, we're going to be talking about a beautiful start to the day. Temperature's not bad, but we have that wind coming out of that northerly direction. A cool front, we'll call it that, went through last night. It was very unproductive in terms of precipitation, that's for sure. But it is going to be ushering in that cooler air today. So while it starts off above average, I mean, it's 40 in Hartford, 44 New Haven, 36 in Windsor Loch, some cooler conditions slightly to the west, and we have a little bit of a breeze out there ushering in that cooler air. So it does create a colder feel in Torrington, for example, 25. Otherwise, it feels generally in the 30s. So a light jacket should do it this morning and throughout today. So we'll be climbing into and hanging out in the low 40s through 9 o'clock. Notice we're not, pushing 60 by noon like we did yesterday, mid and upper 40s at that point in time, and then kind of leveling off in that general low 50-degree range. There'll be some increasing clouds from time to time today, but all in all, not bad. Compared to normal, we'll still be above average, but certainly, a change we're going to notice the next couple of days. But then we have another warm-up. We have some rain late weekend, breaking that all down in detail for you coming up in the next 15 minutes. For now, let's get an update on traffic with Caitlin. Good morning.
All right, good morning, Jill. Good morning, everyone. We're taking a look across the state here this morning. Just a minor incident that we're following for you here in Hartford. This is on 91 southbound, 91 northbound as you are heading, no, that was correct, 91 southbound. I don't know why I second-guessed myself. 91 southbound here in Hartford, that shoulder and that right-hand lane blocked off as they're working to tow a vehicle away. So this is right before you merge onto 84, so right by exit 32A and B there in the capital city. Live look here in Waterbury, 84 east and westbound there by the Mixmaster. Things looking good in Meriden along 691 east and westbound. And right now, nice and quiet here along Route 9 in Middletown. You can see great visibility across the state, calm, clear conditions. Besides that little incident that I'm filing for you in Hartford, everything else is looking good. Smooth sailing across the board. Daytime construction work picks up between about 8:30 and 9 o'clock. And the normal delays that are starting to build down through Fairfield County on 95 southbound. Let's quick check at your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
Well, right now, we are asking police for answers after a brutal murder in Waterbury.
And your reporter, Roger Susannon, has more on this horrific crime right from outside the Waterbury Police Headquarters.
At this point, Waterbury police have not identified the woman who was murdered, but they tell us she was 39 years old, and it appears that she was a victim of yet another case of horrible domestic violence. Now, this all played out yesterday when eyewitnesses tell us that the victim ran into a store on Lounsbury Avenue gasping for air after someone had stabbed her multiple times. Emergency crews arrived minutes later, but sadly it was too late. She died a short time later. Police tell us the crime was actually committed inside the victim's home. Investigators arrested a suspect, and although at this point they have not been identified, officers do tell us he knows the victim, and again, they believe this crime is the result of domestic violence. Now, this terrible situation happened just one day after yet another domestic violence-related stabbing here in Waterbury. Police tell us the victim in that case, a 25-year-old woman, is expected to survive. Those crimes are not connected, according to investigators, but they are all too familiar. Reporting in Waterbury, I'm your reporter, Roger Susannon, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Roger. This morning, we're learning one person has died after being hit by a car in Middletown. Police say the person was crossing Washington Street right at the High Street crosswalk when a driver in a Toyota Camry hit them. EMS took the pedestrian to the hospital, but police tell us he later died from his injuries. The driver also suffered minor injuries. Police have not released their names or possible charges.
And this morning, investigators in Lebanon are trying to figure out how a person was run over by an unoccupied vehicle. This all unfolded on Bush Hill Road, right near the Willimantic and Lebanon town line last night. Police say the victim suffered serious injuries, and right now, we are still working to get you an update from police on how this happened.
Well, this morning, Waterbury police are investigating what they're calling a potential hate crime. Police say 2 middle school girls say they were attacked for being Muslim. The twin girls recently started school at Wallace Middle after moving here from Egypt. They say 2 students attacked them from behind while 2 other students distracted them. The girls were treated at a hospital and released. The school says they are now taking disciplinary action against the students accused in this attack.
And this morning, investigators will continue looking into what started 3 brush fires right on the side of 84. Check out this video from a Channel 3 viewer. You could see just how intense those flames were at the time. Several lanes were closed as a result on 84 westbound right near exit 63 while the firefighters worked to put the fires out. And we're told the flames were also close to some homes on Bryan Drive.
This morning, Hartford police are investigating a shooting that happened right in the middle of the day on Maple Avenue, not far from the Webster Theater. They're not releasing many details on what happened, but they do say the man who was shot is expected to survive. No word on if any arrests have been made.
Today in New Haven, city leaders will be giving an update on an abducted toddler that was found in Mexico more than 2 decades after her disappearance.
This is a wild story here. Andrea Reyes was 2 when her mother took her and fled to Mexico despite not having custody of her. Andrea Reyes was in the care of her father, who had not been able to contact his daughter since 1999. They were recently reunited after a detective used DNA testing to confirm their relationship. The father will be at today's event, which starts at 1 o'clock this afternoon at police headquarters.
Breaking overnight, President Trump just increased tariffs to 25% on all steel and aluminum imports, and that goes into effect today. And this all comes after the president threatened to put tariffs of 50% on steel and aluminum from Canada. But he chose to stay with the 25% rate after leaders from Ontario suspended plans to put a surcharge on electricity sold to the U.S. The European Union announced that it would retaliate with steps that will take effect April 1st.
Well, offices with the Department of Education are closed today for security reasons, but they'll reopen tomorrow. This is all in an email obtained by CBS News. This threat comes just after the agency announced it is cutting nearly half of its workforce. Those 2,000 workers will start their leave next Friday and then will receive full pay and benefits through June 9th. The Department of Education says the job cuts will bring the number of employees from 4,100 down to about 2,100. All right, there is a child care crisis here in Connecticut, and so now there's mounting pressure to get some savings in line for Connecticut families.
This morning, Governor Ned Lamont is expected to discuss details of his plan to implement a large expansion of childcare. And your reporter, Marcy Jones, has more on the goals of this plan from the Early Learning Center in New Britain.
Good morning, Tracy and Nicole. Well, right now, Governor Ned Lamont is proposing actually the largest expansion of preschool access in the state's history. And he said his goal is simple: to help as many working families as possible. In a recent national survey, almost 40% of parents said that child care was factored into their decision to quit a job. Connecticut ranks in the top 10 states for most expensive child care in the nation. Some of the contributing factors to this include labor shortages, long wait lists, and high costs of care. The governor's new plan begins with the establishment of a dedicated fund that would allow the state to create thousands of preschool spaces. Another main goal is to make childcare affordable by making it free or low cost for all working families. The proposal still needs to be approved by the General Assembly, and the governor is expected to make his remarks in just a few hours right here at 10:30. So make sure you stick with us right here on Channel 3 for all of the updates. Your reporter in New Britain, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, so we want you to weigh in on the situation. How would you describe the cost of childcare in Connecticut? Is it too high? Is it fair? Or is it too low? 1% said too low, and I'd love to talk to that person. Fair, 13% of you are weighing in that, you know, you're okay with the prices. Too high, 86% of you are saying, yeah, it's costly. So if you haven't had a chance to weigh in yet, log on to WFSB.com/vote now or on the free WFSB app.
All right, 7:10 right now, and the Yukon men's basketball team is heading to the Big East tournament with a nice send-off, by the way, for them on campus. Coach Dan Hurley and his team will take on either Seton Hall or Villanova tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. Channel 3, of course, your home for the Yukon Huskies. We'll be following them on the road, and we'll keep you updated along the way. All right, Jill.
Hey. All right, we are tracking a winner Sunrise this morning, now a little bit earlier, just as that glow started to appear. We had Tina Pelletier in and around Yukon take this photo, and she submitted it to the First Alert weather app, and that's the easiest and fastest way you can get it to me so I can show it off on TV. How about that? It's beautiful right now in Hartford. It's 40 degrees. There's a little breeze out there, but it feels great for this time of year when lows are supposed to be in the mid and upper 20s, so we're all in the 30s and 40s. Hour-by-hour forecast showing you the temperature. It's going to be getting into the 40s through today, upper 40s, and some spots reaching that lower 50-degree range, especially inland. So it is cooler out there today as we were giving you that first alert, but still, nonetheless, slightly above average. Changes with our temperatures, certainly, especially over the next couple of days. More on that coming up in the next 5 minutes. For now, we'll send it back over to you, Tracy.